Happy New Year from Pittsburgh Sportsline. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine, Chip Hayner, and Smoking Jim Frazier in our brand new studio where Judge Arnone's office used to be. We're recording this show for you folks, and the hookup's not yet for doing our live shows. That'll be ready next week, so we're presenting our first show of 2018. Happy New Year, guys. Great to see you come in. What a cold day again. We've had winter here for people that aren't surprised in Pittsburgh. We had 60 degrees, now we got 2 degrees. So it's a little bit chilly out. Smoking Jim doesn't feel any of the weather. You don't even know by the way he's dressed that he's not dressed for winter. Right. He's dressed for winter. Get the heck out. He's been telling me this for 6 years. Hot or cold, it don't matter. Why is he wearing winter stuff now? I got the short sleeve, got the long hair. Missed my haircut appointment the last couple weeks during our hiatus. Didn't know what to do on Tuesday nights. First time in 6 years I was off 2 weeks in a row. Wow. It was a shock, but hey, we're glad to be talking sports with our friends and family and friends on Verizon 32. Seen everywhere from Nemacolin to Cranberry, Wexford, and all points in between. Thanks for watching our shows and all the great feedback. And this is the Skip Atkins, 32's on the air, so check us out. Let us know what you think of the show, Skip. And Comcast 7 only in Bethel Park. All you loyal fans that are on there, we appreciate you. And on Facebook, we were up a little above, down a little bit, but we're holding steady at 6,565 likes. So thank you very much for likes and watching our show. We appreciate that. And we start off our show with What's on Your Mind, sponsored by Skeets Lewandowski of Skeets Service Station. If you need a car worked on, especially in this cold weather, people's batteries are bad and other type of things, snow tires, give a call, 724-348-4715. You get Skeets. He's an honest mechanic, so check him out. He'll take care of you. And we're going to start our show with What's on Your Mind. Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And if you want the green, you got to see Levine.
I forgot the promos.
I dropped one.
Oh, man.
I feel like Oklahoma.
What do you think of Coleman, the wide receiver for the Browns?
Did he drop one?
Did you? You didn't watch the game.
I didn't watch the game, but I heard they, there's no need for me to watch the game. Usually, I probably won't watch the championship game. All I got to do is watch the press conference. If I see Antonio Brown's snot-nosed kids, I know the Steelers won. If I don't see the runny-nosed kids, I know they lost. So, but what's on my mind is, first of all, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to you, my friend.
All right.
Happy New Year.
That's a white thing to do. And Happy New Year, Devin, and Rookie of the Year. and what's on my mind is a little reverse discrimination. This is on my mind. For the last 20 years,
white
in the
cornerback?
National Football League, there has not been a white cornerback, not even on the practice squad. I watched all these college football games, and there has not been a white cornerback in any of the games. I don't know if any of them were on the bench. But what's on my mind is the Pittsburgh Steelers have only had 3 white MVPs in the last 30 years. And one of the main reasons is 80% of the team is black. The team votes for the MVPs. And these guys are being whiteballed. So where is the Rooney Rule for reverse discrimination? So what I wanted to do is just name off a couple of guys who, in my opinion, should have got a Steeler MVP and never did. How about Jack Ham, Tunchilkin, Alan Faneca, David DeCastro, Kevin Green, Mike Wagner, Tommy Maddox, Aaron Smith, Villanueva, Merrill Hodge, Chris Boswell. Just want all you guys to know you got at least one black vote for me.
What about Heath Miller?
Heath Miller did win MVP. He won one. And
Well, you forgot the water boy.
the water boy. So again, as I close, where is the Rooney Rule for reverse discrimination? Where's it at?
Smoking Jim, always appreciate your insights. That was new material for 2018. I really appreciate that. And I hope you look for the Rooney Rule on white cornerbacks, reverse discrimination, like you looked for the curse of Art Rooney and the Steelers, because you got nada. You got nothing on that Art Rooney Rule. So, but good luck.
Thank you,
Dig
sir.
deep. Sorry, Chip, but I had to.
Okay.
Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
Thank you, Alan, and happiest and the best of New Year's to you, my friend Jim, and to you, Alan. And
Thank you.
Kwanzaa for me.
That's Christmas, and I did celebrate Kwanzaa this year. Thank you. And I want to wish a happy New Year to all of our loyal followers, and to Devin and Steve in the control room, without whom we would not be able to do all this.
They're awesome.
But before I get into what's on my mind, I must address my dear friend Jim's take on the Rooney Rule. And if you want to make a mockery of something, what about the NFL teams that are making a mockery of the Rooney Rule by the way that they're going about hiring their next head coach?
Good point.
Because there's teams that have already lined up for all the people that they want to hire already, and it doesn't seem like an African American is going to get a fair shake on this.
Sorry, I sneezed.
The Rooney Rule was put into place not to decide who's voted MVP, but who is put into management positions, head coaches, coordinators, etc., general managers. And the NFL is still kind of lacking in that area. So let's just leave that. But you want to know what's on my mind, and I'm amused at all of the fuss that was made over James Harrison being cut by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and subsequently signing with the only team that offered him anything, which was the Patriots, because he was such a valuable commodity that there was 30 other teams that didn't have any interest in him at all. So, James Harrison was a great Pittsburgh Steeler. We'll always be grateful for the things that he's done for the Pittsburgh Steelers, helped them to win 2 championships, helped them to make it to a 3rd championship game that they came up just short in. But James Harrison's time has passed. Now, he had a good game last weekend, but one game does not a season make. The Steelers' defense did not need him this year. He was signed as an insurance policy in case the young guys did not perform as they hoped that they would. Players like T.J. Watt have performed above expectations and has proven that they are linebackers in the NFL. And the Steelers' defense this year, much different than Steelers defenses in the past. Subsequently, the Pittsburgh defense of 1994, which had set the Steelers' single-season sack record at 55 sacks, was beaten this year by a defense that did not rely on the outside linebackers blitzing every down and then spending more time covering backs and tight ends. So my hat's off to Keith Butler and the Steelers defense for breaking a record that was 23 years old. And that is something that I should make note of because that's part of the reasons why the Steelers are 13-3 and have this week off. And I'm really enjoying that. I'm looking forward to a solid playoff run. I think this team has the potential to win it all. And but there's one caveat there. There's a reason why they play the games. They haven't won anything yet. They're starting with a clean slate. And I fear that our first opponent, which is undetermined at this point, could be the Jacksonville Jaguars. And if anybody remembers back, yes, Ben did throw 5 interceptions against the Jaguars. But the reason why the Steelers lost that game more than Ben's 5 interceptions was the Jaguars ran the ball down our throats. And if we're not able to stop their run game, it might be a short playoff run for us, but we'll see how the games play out this week. I'm excited. That's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Chip. Appreciate it. I forgot to do my promos to start off. start with promos right now. Olive Oil's Pizzeria, Hillcrest Shopping Center, 412-831-1900. Thanks for the XL Pizza and the steak hoagie. It was delicious. You might have caught Smoking Jim munching on it. You never know. Got a couple more here.
He's trying to get that ginger ale iceberg to melt.
One thing about Smoking Jim is he's extremely stubborn, because I know I'm a stubborn man. So
I would never have guessed that.
yes,
Either of you.
we're stubborn, no doubt. Even if I'm proven wrong, I still think I'm right. So
Sounds like we've all been bitten by that bug.
yes. Wanted, Bethel Park groups and organizations who need money. Get from $100 to $5,000. Go to bpcf.org. Check it out. It's a great organization, 501c3, and they sponsor a lot of great things in the community for your groups. Be one of the people to apply. Check that out. Next, we end each show with Stay Joey Strong. This is Joey Favis, Childhood Cancer Foundation, 501c3. All the money goes to try to find DIPG, the brain cancer that killed little Joey before his 9th birthday. Donate there at Joey Favis Childhood Cancer Foundation. Check them out. Next, we have another 501c3. It's the Bethel Park Historical Society's Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, right on South Park Road with a trolley right in front. Can't miss it. Go to their website, donate money. They have different events throughout the year. They even rent the place out for different businesses. Check it out. Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. Now, Dave Cable likes to have some fun using my face. Oh, there it is. I want you for BPTV so you could be like Steve Fisher from Baldwin. You could be from Devin Shea from our hometown of Bethel Park. Matter of fact, he's like 2 blocks away from here. He lives, and he's coming in here doing this show. So thanks. You can volunteer here. Call 412-831-3304. What's on my mind is I predicted the Steelers would have a record of 11-5. Some people argued about that. I had Judge Arnone on a show, and he said they'll be 12-4. Well, 2 smart guys like that, we're dead wrong. 13-3. 13-3 they were this year. Congratulations, Steelers. People talk about the team, but I remember they were 5-2 at a certain point in time. All of a sudden, they win 8 games and only lose 1 in the last 9 games. And we got people complaining about the Steelers, the coaches, the players. 3 losses. You know what? I'm bleeding that black and gold, and I'm proud of the Steelers. I know they have different flaws and different things that go on, but this year showed me that when they play down to the level of competition, they would lose. They won this year. So what a change. 180 degrees on that. We can't go wrong. I don't know. They keep talking about Tomlin and this can't coach. He's a cheerleader. Terry Bradshaw comes out and says, still one of the greatest cheerleaders. I'm not taking back what I said. Well, you know what? For somebody that doesn't coach at all, he's a heck of a cheerleader to bring a team in at 13-3.
See, Terry Bradshaw is simply grasping at straws now because Terry Bradshaw, for all rights and purposes, has become irrelevant.
Whoa! Thank you, Chip Hayner. Wow. I understand that, except Smoking Jim wheeled him around in a wheelchair after surgery. He looks up to him to this day.
You should have helped him on the escalator.
He did. He carried him on his back. He didn't tell you that story. But that's another thing. All these people that talk so negative about it, I was optimistic at 11-5 because I thought they would play down to the competition and lose a couple of those games. They lost a couple games they shouldn't have. I can't imagine 15-1 this year.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
The only
That's
game that they
close.
really got beat in was against the Jaguars.
That's why I was saying 15-1.
Yep.
And I'm a little nervous like Chip is, but they play the game. But I think the Steelers have come together. Big Ben stopped overthrowing guys. He ended up hitting guys right in the hands, which was remarkable the last 7-8 games. So there's a guy that was saying when he gave up 5 interceptions, he said it sarcastically, although some people think he wasn't, that maybe I'm done. He's not. And he's not done next year either. I don't care what he goes into. He's feeling pretty good. Had the week off. He even volunteered to play against Cleveland. Now, people that talk about Big Ben in a negative way, I'm going to bring some of the things I hear all the time, that he's just a stat man. He proved it when he said to Tomlin, I'll play against Cleveland if you don't mind. Guess what Tomlin did? Sit down there with your baseball cap on. You're not playing.
I would have liked it better if they'd have put him in the luxury box, not on the sideline in case somebody tripped into him or something.
Well, you got to watch because some of those guys go flying in there. But I want to congratulate the Steelers and good luck in the playoffs. And I predict that we will win number 7.
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, and Chip Hayner. Only thing I got to say is 13-3 sounds good to me, but 13-4, the NFL will show you the door. And Chip,
And that's going to be the Patriots.
and the rebuttal to you, Chip, somebody's going 13-4, you're right. And the rebuttal to you, Chip, is that I'm not worried about the Pittsburgh Steelers' run defense because they can't stop anybody anyway on the run defense. I'm more concerned about the pass defense, which the Pittsburgh Steelers have needed defensive cornerbacks for a number of years. And being that I've been with the Pittsburgh Steelers since the year 2000, except for the few years they fired me, I think I'll just go over some of the draft day pass by cornerbacks that the Steelers could have had and who they picked instead. So anyway, we'll start it off with how about in 2014, undrafted kid out of West Alabama named Malcolm Butler, and these are only all pros that I'm talking about. Instead, the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 5th round took Shaquille Richardson, bus. In 2013, Jacksonville All-Pro A.J. Bowie was another undrafted rookie, and the Steelers decided to take 2 defensive backs, 1 safety, 1 cornerback. How about Terry Hawthorne, cornerback, bus, in the 5th round? In the 4th round, they took Shamarko Thomas. I just threw that in there since he was a safety, another bust. How about in 2011, undrafted All-Pro player by the name of Chris Harris Jr. The Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's only a 3-time Pro Bowler. How about Richard Sherman, also in 2011, the 5th round draft choice, 6'3", 200 pounds out of Stanford, 4-time Pro Bowler. Instead, the Steelers in the 3rd round took a guy by the name of Chris Brown. In the 4th round, they took Cortez Allen. Couple little busts for you. How about here's another guy by the name of Brent Grimes, only a 4-time Pro Bowler, 33 career interceptions in the NFL, was a 3-time college All-American, and he played at tiny Shippensburg College here in Pennsylvania. And the Pittsburgh Steelers actually break down their scouting in pros and college scouting. Then they break it up in territories, east, west, north, and south. And then they have a guy who specializes in finding those local nuggets throughout the state of Pennsylvania. And his name is Dan Colbert, Kevin Colbert's son. Danny, you blew that one. But that's my fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. You don't have to spend a lot of money on cornerbacks if you can scout good.
Smoking Jim, thank you. But what's the Steelers' record since they've been drafting?
You sound like Chip now. You sound like Chip.
Yeah, because I'm thinking,
What's it even matter?
24.
We got a cheerleader for a coach, and we're 13-3 because that's for me.
Now, take a look over at the Cleveland Browns, okay, with all of those first-round draft picks, and they're going to have the first 4 picks in the draft next year, and they're going to blow those too, okay? But I think your record is what really speaks as to how.
So you're saying it's okay when we need cornerbacks and we keep blowing on the cornerback?
Well, I think
we need one eventually.
Division championships.
I'm just
going to the playoffs.
Now answer my question.
Not as a wild card.
Is it okay when you need cornerbacks every year for the last 10 years and you have not got a good one yet? Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right. Long as it's okay.
As long as you keep winning, that's all good.
What is their record? 13-3, just for me.
I think about 0-15 on cornerbacks.
Yeah, but do you think that they have not
Did it
had
matter?
a single losing season since Colbert and Tomlin have been together?
Did it
not
matter?
a single losing season in 11 years? That doesn't matter.
8-8's not great.
What's the record?
8-8's not
What's
great.
the record against New England?
Doesn't matter.
That exploits their cornerbacks. That does not matter? That doesn't matter?
We'll see what happens this year.
Oh, they already got beat by them.
They got beat by the referees, not by the Patriots. Thank you.
That was a catch. He broke the plane. The line went there. Boom.
Go Debo!
Well, Smoking Jim has already bet against the Steelers' opponent for week 1 of the divisional round, and he doesn't even know who it is yet.
Thank you, Smoking Jim Frazier. Now let's get some.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to my trivia segment. And because Jim is such an astute evaluator of talent, I just want to bring to attention a player that really caught my eye yesterday in the bowl games.
Whoa.
Yeah, and he didn't play for Auburn. He didn't play for Georgia, or he didn't play for Oklahoma, didn't play for Alabama, or for Clemson. I'm talking about Shaquem Griffin from the University of Central Florida. This young man, 12 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and I believe he may have caused a fumble. And this young man is playing football with one hand. Now that is an amazing athlete, and I think that's somebody that I would love to see play in the NFL next year. And I don't know if he will get drafted highly. He was involved in almost every play. Congratulations to the University of Central Florida, the only undefeated team in college football this year.
True national champion.
Congratulations to the Knights. Their coach, I believe he's going to Nebraska. So he's getting a cream puff job because those Cornhuskers, I'm telling you something, they take care of their own. So, now that we've got the NFL playoffs coming up this week, we've got Wild Card Weekend, and guess who's not playing? The Pittsburgh Steelers. So, what I thought is I'd come up with some interesting facts regarding the NFL playoffs and some of the players. The Trinity, Tom Brady, Eli Manning, and Peyton Manning, all have the exact same player pass-off rating of 87.4 in the playoffs. Wow. And you want to know what makes that even more interesting? Mm-hmm. Mark Sanchez has a higher playoff passer rating than Brady, Eli, Peyton, Brett Favre, Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers, Steve Young, and John Elway. And the Sanchez, are we still calling him that? Or the Sanchez, excuse me, did it in 6 games. This wasn't a one-game fluke. He still did this, though. Interesting fact, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Russell Wilson only needs 2 fourth-quarter comebacks in the playoff to tie Tom Brady for most all-time, and he's only 28.
Wow.
Julian Edelman, in his 7th season as a pro, already has more postseason receptions than Anquan Bolden, Fred Biletnikoff, Marvin Harrison, Chris Carter, Shannon Sharp, Larry Fitzgerald, Randy Moss, and Terrell Owens. Probably because nobody for the Steelers can cover him, huh? Okay, 6 teams have won a playoff game without scoring a touchdown. The Steelers accomplished that feat last year. The 2006 Colts were the last to do it before going on to win the Super Bowl. 6 teams have won a playoff game without scoring a touchdown.
Wow.
Keep that in mind.
I didn't know that.
You see that? Notable playoff choker Tony Romo has a higher playoff passer rating than clutch hero Tom Brady.
Wow, Captain Clutch.
In the 2017 playoffs, the NFL kickers were perfect on 34 of 34 field goals, and Chris Boswell was responsible for a good number of those. 8 different AFC teams have played in the conference championship game since 2000. Meanwhile, 13 teams have appeared in the NFC championship over that same period of time. 3 NFC teams that haven't appeared in the conference title game, and this is since 2000, okay, would be the Cowboys, the Redskins, and the Lions. Proof that playoff performance has no predictive value, Jake Delhomme had the best passer rating in NFL playoff history after his first postseason games. He threw 8 interceptions over the next 2. Kind of shot that all full of holes. Whenever the Packers and the Giants have played in the postseason, the winner has gone on to win the title. The Packers beat the Giants in the 2017 wild card round, but came up just a bit short. Only 1 quarterback over the age of 40 has won an NFL playoff game. Just one. Brett Favre. Tom Brady could be the next, but could also end up as...
Can you read that again?
He could be the next. He may not be the next. He could be 13-4, and he could be shown the door.
Right.
Only 1 quarterback over the age of 40 has won an NFL playoff game, and that's Brett Favre.
Wow.
Only 3 teams have made the conference championship game after starting the season 4-6 or worse. The Packers, who did it last year, would be the first to make the Super Bowl after doing so. Unfortunately, they were not. Only 3 running backs have rushed for more than 160 yards twice in the NFL playoffs. Terrell Davis, who is an undeserving Hall of Fame inductee, John Riggins, and Le'Veon Bell, who is only 24.
Wow.
It's amazing.
It is.
Yeah, I find out some good stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Like, is this what happens when you read?
Yeah, but what about the white cornerbacks?
We're getting to those. We're getting to those, okay? The Ice Bowl remains the coldest game in NFL history with a kickoff temperature of minus 13 degrees. And that is where my hatred for the Dallas Cowboys began, because I was a Packer fan that afternoon. I watched that game with my father. I was 7 years old. The coldest feeling game, however, was the 1982 AFC title game between the Chargers and the Bengals. It felt like minus 59 degrees that day in Cincinnati. And the following week when they played the Super Bowl, they didn't have to worry about the weather that day because it was played in the Silverdome. And Joe Montana beat the Bengals. And once again, the Bengals showed why they're the Bengals. Only 1 quarterback in NFL history has started multiple playoff games and gone undefeated. Any idea, Jim? Frank Reich, author of the Bills' famous comeback against the Oilers in 1993. Wow. They came back from being down, I believe, 35-3.
Yeah, what a comeback.
I remember watching that game, and it was a doozy. Brady and Peyton are the only 2 quarterbacks to attempt 1,000 passes in the postseason. No other quarterback has attempted more than 800.
Wow.
This is a good one for you, Jim, because this speaks to your quarterback issue, okay, with the Pittsburgh Steelers. In the 2012 playoffs, Tim Tebow averaged 23.8 yards per completion. That's the highest mark in a single postseason since the merger.
That was against the Steelers.
And wasn't it Ike that was chasing him down the field? In just 21 seasons of existence, the Ravens own the record for most road playoff wins with 10. The Giants have won the most road playoff games in a row with 5. And the Detroit Lions have lost an NFL record 9 consecutive playoff games. Since the merger, Detroit is 1-13 in the postseason. And I did find something else that I found interesting. If you just let me rifle through these papers real quickly. There's only one team that has reached both the NFC title game and the AFC title game. And that would be the Seattle Seahawks from its inception in 1977. Until 2001, the team played in the AFC, then switched to the NFC. In 1983, the Seahawks lost the AFC title match. It won NFC titles in 2006 and 2014. And the only NFL team to never appear in a conference title match is the Houston Texans. Yeah. Every team in the NFC has been to the conference title game. Only team to never win that conference title game was the Detroit Lions. So there you go, folks. Some interesting facts, not fiction, facts about the NFL playoffs.
Thanks, Chip Hayner. Appreciate that knowledge. You know, I'm a trivia guy, and I appreciate it. On location, 1st of 2018, we'll be at Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 930 Brookline Boulevard. We'll be there with some great guests lined up. Just talked to Mike McSorley, boxer trainer, owner of Congreb Boxing, will be there, and he's bringing his fighters, a couple Ukrainians, a couple other fighters will be there, and we'll have a great show with that. There's rumors that we may have a football team again coming in. Not sure if that's happening yet. Smoking Jim told me that Hall of Famer Frank Fabus, the photographer, Pittsburgh Sportsline photographer, was working on it. All I've heard is crickets, Smoking Jim. But come out for $5 large pizza, $5 hoagies at Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Tell Frank that Al Levine, the talking machine, invited you to come on out. You can watch us film from 7:30 to 8:30. We have a lot of fun. It's always a good time there, right on Brookline Boulevard. Again, 930 Brookline Boulevard. Come on up, Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Then we got a new show coming up January 15th, third week of the month, third Monday. We'll be at USS Fight Academy. Maybe you've heard about the championship boxer USS Cunningham, Steve Cunningham. He opened up a gym. His wife Livy got a hold of me, and we're going to do a show at 1712 North Lincoln Highway there, out in North Versailles. So come on out. We'll be there from 7:30 to 8:30 filming his gym and doing interviews with him and his family and maybe some boxers and other people training out there. So it should be some fun. Smoking Jim and I got a fight to do January 27th. Stay tuned with that. Kansas City's going to fight our local guys here. Jack Mook is organizing that. So we'll be doing some boxing on Saturday night, January 27th. That's my on-location report, and stay tuned for anything else that comes up. Oh, by the way, talked to Jeffrey Park at Hollywood Lanes. We're looking for a potential show at Hollywood Lanes the third week of February. So it might be February 19th. We'll be out there at Hollywood Lanes, so we've got to get the details together, and we'll be back there at Hollywood Lanes. They want to have us. So. Thanks for not changing that channel. Verizon 32 for all of you on 32 and Comcast 7 only in Bethel Park. We got Steelers to talk about. We've been off for 2 weeks, but the Steelers haven't been. 13-3, Smoking Jim said that's for me.
Question from my dear friend Jim.
13-4, that was getting shown the door.
But here's the question I have from my dear friend Jim.
Yes, sir.
Because he is so quick to point out on all of the players that we missed on in the draft. And I would just like to reiterate about the players that we didn't miss on in the draft who are playing on the team currently. And I think, well,
that doesn't matter.
How many people passed on Le'Veon Bell before we got him? Quite a number of them, right? How many people passed on Juju? Quite a number of them. Antonio Brown, but I'm sure you take full credit for that. Martavis Bryant, okay? We've got an offensive line that has 3 of the 5 members going to the Pro Bowl. Ryan Shazier, your favorite defensive lineman, Stephon Tuitt.
One play to it.
They brought in Joe Hayden, which was a great stopgap measure to fill a hole they had at cornerback. So they haven't completely ignored that. But if you look up and down the Steelers lineup, that team is completely stacked, and the Steelers don't sign free agents. So
hold on, what about Cam?
As much as you want to negative about the way they draft, there's a lot of positives there.
Well, your negative statements are true, but what about Cam Hayward? How did he not get the Pro Bowl? We had 8 guys. They didn't want to put a 9th guy in.
That's disappointing.
12 sacks for the defensive end in a 3-4 defense.
I don't think
That's
the Steelers.
rare.
I don't think the Steelers have any defensive players that's going to play in a Pro Bowl.
No, and you know what? And you know what though? And here's the way that you combat that. If you have difficulty stopping other teams from scoring, well, the way to combat that is to score one more than your opponent.
Yeah, that's true.
And right now, the Steelers' offense can match any team in the league, point for point. I mean, and here's what they lost. AB. What did they did? They almost beat the. They beat the Browns, but that wasn't really much of anything. But they almost beat the Patriots, and AB got hurt early in that game. In our minds, that wasn't a victory that the Patriots won. I give that one to the Zebras. But their offense is just it's matured as the year going on.
Well, Ben's hitting guys.
In the offense that we thought that the Steelers were going to put on the field in Week 1, they put on the field in Week 17. And they have progressed to the point where now they believe they have enough confidence that if one piece gets hurt or falls off, that they've got the ability for other people to pick up the slack. What are your thoughts?
Well, one question for Al Levine, the talking machine. I'm excited to go out to Hollywood Lanes in February. Is Jeff bringing us back because it's Black History Month or no?
He didn't even mention that. He just said he loves us.
Does that have anything to do with the Steelers?
Yes.
Okay.
Hold it.
80.
How does that connects with the Steelers and their
But here's the
problems?
thing. Here's the thing you look at in the playoffs is traditionally New England's had a hard time beating Kansas City, and I think that New England may be playing Kansas City, and the Pittsburgh Steelers may not be the best team between them and Jacksonville, although they'll be rested and they get Jacksonville at home. So it could be Jacksonville and Kansas City in the championship game.
Yeah, very well could be. I mean, but we'll play
I think
the game.
without.
I'll tell you what, if I had to put my money on a horse, would I put it on Blake Bortles or would I put it on Ben Roethlisberger? And every day of the week I would put it on Ben.
So would Bill Cowher. That's why he drafted him. But go ahead.
How did Bill Cowher come into this?
It's a lot easier to win with a
I
Hall of Fame
think we'll
quarterback.
be a little bit better against Jacksonville, whether they run over us or not, because Big Ben's not going to throw 5 interceptions.
That's true.
That makes a huge difference. You've had a couple bad games in your careers.
Yeah.
He had a bad game.
Yeah.
Now he was overthrowing everybody. Now he's hitting them.
Well, here's what makes Jacksonville tough on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number one, they can put pressure on the quarterback with 4 men, and number 2, they got 2 of the best cornerbacks in the National Football League last 10 years. One of which the Steelers passed over. That was undrafted free agent, and so that makes it.
Tell them the name again, so they can.
But what does that have to do with anything?
Are we talking Jacksonville Steelers?
Yeah, but I mean, so the Steelers passed on. Do you think, every team's passed on somebody? You could go through every single NFL team and come up with a laundry list of players that they passed on that somebody else was successful
let me
with.
talk about somebody the Steelers didn't pass on. There's 2 All-Pro left tackles that James Harrison can beat. Eric Fisher for Kansas City. That's the main reason why New England brought him in, and Villanueva for the Steelers. So if you want to talk about guys that
so how many times
that's going to hurt the Steelers
in an NFL game? How many sacks has James Harrison gotten against Al Villanueva in an NFL game? How many?
Are you telling me that Villanueva can
too
block
easy.
Harrison?
So then you're telling me that there's none, right?
But do you agree that Eric Fisher has a hard time against
Eric
James
Fisher
Harrison?
has a hard time.
Historically, there's history there.
Yeah, there's history there because he did get that one good sack.
There's
this year.
video.
Yeah, his other sack that he had.
There's
this year
video.
against him.
There's video on that.
Yeah,
There's video on that Fisher.
because he only have 2 sacks this year.
And I can guarantee you, and I love Villanueva, I can guarantee you that I've seen and I've witnessed many times that James Harrison is a problem for Villanueva. One, Villanueva is so tall and long, and that's perfect for a guy like James Harrison for what he does. And Villanueva, in my opinion, is a Pro Bowl left tackle just like Eric Fisher, but styles make problems, and James
Here's how he
style,
solves the problem. He grabs Harrison around the neck, like all these other guys do, and leave it up to the zebras to make a call.
But Harrison don't have a cheerleader for a head coach now, and he has Belichick, who will go to the referees and warn them before the game that don't let this guy hold Harrison. So it could be a lot of flags here. There ain't no cheerleader. He don't play for a cheerleader anymore.
They're not going to call a flag on every play.
You know what though? Here's the thing. I think the Patriots can be had this year. I was not impressed with the games that I saw the Patriots play this year. Yeah, they won. Patriots really didn't dominate a whole lot of teams, other than the Jets on Sunday. But that was, like, look at the Steelers' second and third stringers beating the Browns.
Well, which games impressed you about the Steelers? The overtime victory against Cleveland in the first game?
Yes.
Did that impress you?
Yeah, because they beat a bad team.
Yeah.
The record against bad teams is like 7-24.
But I agree with you, Machine. But Chip is saying he's not impressed with New England. Or you've been impressed with the Steelers at 1-point victory?
I'm impressed with the Steelers.
I was
finishing the season 13-3. I'm very impressed by that.
Well, that's when New England finished 13-3 too,
Well,
and you said you're not
I'm
impressed.
not impressed with they're beatable. The Steelers, for all rights and concerns, even though the scoreboard said differently, the Steelers beat the Patriots here in Pittsburgh. They did.
Here's a symbol. See, this is the goal line. And now watch this. My hand with the ball went through the goal line. It goes all the way up to heaven. Touchdown.
Because
nobody touched them.
Because the NFL has gotten to the point where they have two sets of rules that cover the same thing. Like once the ball breaks the plane of the goal line, the play's over. It doesn't matter what happens once you cross the goal. Once the ball crosses, but now all of a sudden that doesn't matter. And I don't understand when that changed. But that's the one thing that I couldn't understand. But they have all these caveats they put on what is a catch and what isn't, and then it's ridiculous.
It still was a touchdown.
Well, here's the difference again when you got a cheerleader for a coach and a real coach. As soon as I seen it the first time, knowing the league, I said it's going to be overturned. A great coach would have rallied his troops around and got 2 plays together. How do you throw to Hayward Bay? How do you come off a 5-minute delay, throw to Hayward Bay where he gets tackled in bounds? Then you have to scramble. You got one coach saying don't spike. You got another quarterback wants to spike the ball. There was chaos.
How about this?
And that's on the Steelers.
And you know what? And that was a mistake. That was a flaw that the Steelers made.
That's cheerleading.
It's a mistake that they're not going to make a second time.
But I'm just looking at the schedule here. 21-18, they beat Cleveland. They lost to Chicago 23-17. That was a loss.
Okay.
But you're saying that 30-9, we already talked about Jacksonville.
I'm not even looking at that. I'm looking at the number 13-3.
But I'm just saying, Chip's saying that New England and impress him. What did the Steelers do?
No,
The 23-20 victory over Cincinnati impression?
I did not get the impression.
They won that game. They should have lost.
The 3 games I watched the Patriots play, I did not get the impression that they were unbeatable.
2017 over the Colts. You like that against the Steelers?
I sure do, because we got the 20 and
They
they
were
got the
the
17.
Now, they were the cardiac kids. They remind me of the 1980 Cleveland Browns and Steelers. A lot of last-minute wins, which may help them in the playoffs. Who knows?
Here's what happens. There's luck in games, and there's no luck.
No luck all season.
I'll take the luck.
No luck all season.
I set you up. I know you'd go with that. You know yourself. I'll take a team that's lucky all day long.
Well,
They're lucky 13.
Can we quickly do the road to the Super Bowl? I'm gonna get you guys' picks and see
who
goes.
It's kind of difficult to understand, to come up with the answer there, because
Buffalo, Jacksonville.
Buffalo, Jacksonville. I would have to go with the Jaguars.
Jags. How about Tennessee, Kansas City?
Kansas City.
All right. Kansas City, New England.
Kansas City can beat
want
New
your
England.
lobster. You want your lobster.
Kansas City can beat New England in New England.
Yeah, I'm with Chip on that.
You saying Kansas City?
I'm saying Kansas City can beat New England.
How about Jacksonville, Pittsburgh?
I think Pittsburgh's
going to the Super
now we
Bowl.
go. How about Atlanta, the Rams? Ooh, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one, but I like the Rams this year. That Jared Goff has really said.
I know who you're going to like. New Orleans or Carolina?
Of course, the Saints.
Saints. Me too. I like them. How about the Saints versus Philly? No Wentz.
Saints.
Saints. Go Mark.
Saints. I like the Eagles, man.
You like the Eagles? You like all Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania championship?
No Wentz.
How about Minnesota and the Rams?
You know, I would tell you this: if you would have told me Case Keenum,
I'm going
would be the
Case.
starting quarterback of the number 2 seed in the NFL and the NFC. If you'd have told me that 10 weeks ago, I'd have bet you a lot of money that wouldn't happen. The Vikings are another team that just find ways
Case.
to win.
Put me on for Case.
How about in the championship game, the Vikings versus New Orleans?
I would have to go with the veteran
I got
quarterback.
my bookie. Come on.
I would have to go with the veteran quarterback, Drew Brees.
I go Saints.
Saints, I got that. Okay, so the Saints is going to the Super Bowl versus New England?
Steelers.
Steelers and the Chiefs here.
Who wins that?
We love the Chiefs. We'll re-sign Harrison.
He'll be available.
Hey, they'll sign him.
Bring him back up. You bring him back.
They'll sign him for $10,000. They paid $59,000. We'll pay $10,000. He'll come down.
That was good.
Hey, it's a business decision.
That's it. Folks, there you have it. That's the playoff picture. I don't know if you could.
He'll come back because he wants another ring.
I don't know if you wrote any of that down, but
All right, finally, who wins the Super Bowl?
Steelers.
Orleans, a black and gold will win it, so who's going to win?
Steelers.
Oh, right here, baby.
Steelers.
NFC North champions.
Maybe New Orleans signs Harrison at the
7.
championship game.
7, baby.
Well, he's going to have the week off because his contract with the Patriots will be over with. He'll be a free agent again.
You guys are saying 7, and I think we'll all be tied up at 6. New England gets number 6 and ties the Steelers. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something?
Hold it. I got a serious question for Smoking Jim Frazier. Are you betting New England the whole way through the playoffs?
Already got my bet in.
That says it all, folks.
And
Ching for the Steelers.
And remember his betting record this year. He was 3-13.
That's what I was waiting to ching.
He was 3-13. Okay, now that we've gotten done beating up the Steelers,
Not very badly.
what is going on with the Pittsburgh Penguins? The Pittsburgh Penguins are playing the Flyers tonight in Philadelphia, and if the Penguins lose this game, they are in last place. Now,
I don't believe
what
that.
is going on there?
Here's what happened.
They're in the 10th spot in the Eastern Division, so if the season were to end today, they're not even in the playoffs.
They lost a lot of great players. Sullivan got them all to mesh together. A couple guys had a couple trophies. They went to other places, Kunitz, Cullen. We lost those guys. Now, the new guys that we got in haven't meshed totally. You had Letang come back from an injury.
Okay, can I just correct
Yeah.
something? They haven't meshed at all, not totally.
But they've had a few games that they look
Because
pretty
you
good.
see, this is part of the problem with you have so much money tied
Caps.
up
The caps.
into so few players that it limits your options on being able. The people that the Penguins lost to free agency, whatever, were key components of that team.
Sure.
Chris Kunitz, Nick Bonino.
It's hard to win 2 cups in a row.
You know, and it's even harder to win 3. So I think
we
what's
found
going
out.
to have to happen here with this Penguins team, and I don't know who's going to be on the block, but they're going to have to make some type of trade because right now
Here's
they're
an
not,
interesting
they're not
one.
getting it done.
Letang was injured. Guys stepped up their games, overcame that. Since he come back, he has a minus 15.
Well,
in the games that he's played, they're not always fault, you know, when they showed minus and plus.
And take into account that, you know,
And he wasn't in 100% shape.
anytime that you've had any kind of surgery on an injury, and you probably know this as well as anybody, I know this after each of my knee surgeries, that I wasn't right for quite some time afterwards. Yeah, you go through your rehab and you're cleared to play, but it was a year and a half before my knees felt like normal, that I could do the things that I did before then. So, you know, he had surgery on his neck. It was not even a year ago. I don't think that he's back to being the Chris Letang that we know.
He may never be the Chris Letang that was there before. That's the thing. He's a great athlete. He's had many other issues, too.
And the problem with the Penguins right now is not Chris Letang. It's all the
No,
way.
no.
It's all the way. You know,
It's the lineup.
The stars aren't being stars when we need them to be. The role players just don't seem to be there on a nightly basis.
Balkan, I got to disagree a little. The last 8 games, he's had 8 goals or something. So he has been playing. It's just not enough.
No, and they just lose. You know, the season's slipping away from them. You know, when we were in October, we were in November, we're in December.
Now we're January.
It's January now. They need to start showing that they're capable, and they are. 2 years ago, they had 43 points at this point in the season, and they went on to win a Stanley Cup. This year, they have 41 points right now, and the team behind them, in next to last place, the Flyers have 40 points. And the fact that we could be in last place this late into the season with as many superstars as we have on this team, it's disturbing.
It is. It is. I think that Sullivan and the players can pull it together somehow. They've done it the last couple years. You got talent that's out there. It's just producing on the ice.
I wish we had Fleury still.
Why,
Yeah.
so he could miss half the season with a concussion?
He might not have gotten it here.
He's prone to the
Obviously,
concussion.
The leadership.
No, and
leadership's
you know,
He's
but the
like
thing
you in
is-
the stubbornness.
The thing
He's
is,
prone to concussion.
Fleury
You're
was
stubborn.
not cap friendly, and they couldn't fit him under the salary cap, and that's really what it boiled down to.
They only
had
had
nothing to do with the caliber of his play or anything else. It had to do with his paycheck, and you know you've got to.
He helped us win the Stanley
Stay
Cup.
within.
But they couldn't afford him. That happens in the cap era. You know, look at how the Steelers spend money and don't spend money.
Yeah.
You know that better than anybody. You'll tell us again and again and again. And then what do? 13-3. That's for me.
Yeah. Keith Butler should not be an NFL.
Well, the only thing I'm going to throw out, we only got about
56
40
sacks.
seconds left. But with Todd Haley and Ben not getting along, the offense is clicking.
And I make a prediction that the Steelers will not lose this weekend.
Well,
You are right.
Well, is Todd Haley back in practice?
No.
He will be tomorrow.
No, and I want to thank everybody for watching the show. It got a little crazy for our first show of 2018.
On a motorized scooter.
Appreciate you. Thanks for watching us. Thanks to Devin Shea and Steve Fisher in the control room. We're down to the last 10 seconds here. And I want you to all stay warm and be Joey strong.